Before you enroll one more Windows PC, check these 3 settings. In this fresh Intune lab we will inspect automatic MDM enrollment, the overlapping WIP scope, and the default Windows enrollment restriction. Then we will prove that our only authorized demo device, Hacker, is active and talking to Intune. This is a real portal walkthrough, not a slideshow. We will not touch any other device, and we will not make a tenant-wide change just to create a dramatic demo. Start in Devices, expand Device Onboarding, and open Enrollment. The Windows tab lists every supported enrollment path, including automatic enrollment, autopilot, device preparation, and enrollment restrictions. Microsoft guidance says automatic enrollment can enroll a device when it joins or registers with Microsoft Entra ID. It also requires the correct licenses and a suitable administrator role. In this lab, automatic enrollment shows the MDM user scope set to all. All can be valid in a controlled lab, but it is a broad user scope decision. For production, document who should enroll and use some when you need a staged rollout. Now look at the URLs and the WIP scope. The MDM terms, discovery, and compliance URLs are present, and we leave the Microsoft defaults untouched. The important finding is that both MDM user scope and Windows Information Protection user scope are set to all. Current Microsoft guidance says to set WIP user scope to none for automatic MDM enrollment, or at minimum ensure the same users are not in both scopes. Microsoft also notes that creating new WIP without enrollment policies is no longer supported. Because this is tenant-wide and cannot be limited to Hacker, today we only record the finding. We do not press Save. Go back to Enrollment and open Device Platform Restriction. Intune always has a default restriction, and that default applies at the lowest priority to all user and userless enrollments until a higher priority restriction is assigned. Microsoft is very clear that enrollment restrictions are not security features. They are a best effort barrier for non-malicious users. Here we see the default Windows restriction only as evidence. We do not create, edit, assign, or reorder a broad policy in this episode. A production design should use a carefully scoped pilot and confirm the intended user-based enrollment method before changing this page. Open Properties and read the Windows row. Windows MDM enrollment is allowed, there is no minimum or maximum version here, and personally owned Windows enrollment is allowed. That is a normal fresh lab posture, but it may be too open for a production tenant. Microsoft documents that blocking personal Windows devices changes which enrollment methods are accepted as corporate. Autopilot, group policy, co-management, bulk provisioning, and device enrollment manager scenarios have different treatment. Do not copy a block setting blindly. First choose your enrollment method, test it with a pilot, and then create a higher priority restriction for the authorized users. Now we jump directly to the known Intune record for Hacker. We do not search the device inventory or open any other computer. The overview gives 4 strong service-side signals: the device name is Hacker, management is Intune, ownership is corporate, and the last check-in is from today. The same physical Hacker PC also passed a safe read-only local identity check, Azure adjoined is yes and device auth status is success. Microsoft explains that device auth status success means the device exists and is enabled in Microsoft Entra ID together. Local join state and current Intune check-in are much stronger evidence than a device name alone. For the final verification, open Hacker Device Compliance and drill into the default device compliance policy. The detail shows is active as compliant and enrolled user exists as compliant. The has a compliance policy assigned check shows error 65001, not applicable. In this lab, that is our clue that a real Windows compliance policy has not been assigned yet. It is not proof that enrollment failed. Microsoft says the default calculation checks whether an applicable compliance policy exists, whether the device remains active, and whether the enrolled user exists. The portal can show an overall compliance state under the tenant default, so never mistake that label for a completed security baseline. Our enrollment foundation audit is complete. Automatic MDM enrollment is active, but the broad MDM and WIP overlap needs an intentional tenant-wide decision. The default Windows restriction currently allows Windows MDM and personally owned devices, so it must be reviewed against the chosen production enrollment method. Hacker is Microsoft Entra joined, enabled, active, Intune managed, and checked in today. No policy was changed, no other device was opened, and no secret was exposed. In the next episode we will build the first hacker-only Windows compliance policy and verify its result live before we consider any conditional access control.